Hi everybody, this is Lenka here in Rebio vegetarian restaurant with my green tea and my cookie, which is made of pastry, plum, jam and chocolate. I already ate half of it because I've been recording this video and I messed it up, so the cookie is already eaten. I am talking today about or introducing my last painting from the series, a Greek Street series, and so I want to invite you to see it, to see my sketching process with commentary. There is a great story of mine from Greece, quite adventurous, and then I will show you a time lapse of my painting. I haven't finished it yet, but I am doing the painting and it will be in time lapse. So my series contains altogether 6 paintings. You can check out my previous videos where you will see 4 and 1 of the paintings of the series. And I'm actually glad that it's finishing because it was a challenge. I got sick. I had to prepare my new website. I invite you to that. You can find it in the description of my channel. And I'm preparing a shop which will be linked to it now for American collectors and later for European. I will do it too. So I'm happy that you are here and that you are watching. And here comes the last painting of my series from the island of Skopelos again. Bye. I forgot to tell you what is my plan for the future. I would like to do something more fun and play, like somebody reminded me from the group of the artists that I am in and who are doing the challenge. And that will be a series of clowns. I also want to try traditional art again, color pencils, watercolor, not on my bed like I work on my iPad, but rather on a kitchen table. I hope there will be some space in our tiny apartment. And so those are my plans for the future. So I hope it will work out and see you soon. Let's dive into the video where I'm painting. Bye. So I'm getting ready to sketch my last painting in the series Greek Streets. I have it in front of me and this is my humble setting. I have decided to do this live recording because it looks like people are more interested in seeing painting by hand, even on the screen, than painting which is recorded. So that's what I'm doing, and I hope you will find it interesting. It is simple, it looks simple, but simple things are usually more difficult than they seem. I feel better. I was sick, so I don't feel like being on the camera, obviously, and so you can see only my hand. And I can see that this is totally not right. So I will use digital tool, which is this, and try to make everything a little lower so that I can keep the proportions of the painting right. I use distort using my selection tool, because that will enable me to change the size without making it smaller. It will be adjusted. I'm not so crazy about drawing in general because I don't practice, and then it shows in the proportions, but I know that I can do it eventually, but it will take more time and several tries to get sizes and everything right. Also, what is an issue here is the fact that the size of my canvas and the size of the photograph are different. So my canvas is much wider, the photo is narrower, so it somehow changes the perspective of everything. Yes, basically that's it, but I don't know if I like the proportions of it all, because picture looks kind of different. It's much more steep going into the sky. Yeah, so now comes the refinement. I chose this picture. It's again from the island Skopelos this time. I had a door from Skopelos, painting called Around the Corner. This is a photograph from the same walk. We walked through the streets full of sun and experience of Aegean Sea. I wanted to tell you one story from my time when I was a tourist agency representative, and it's connected with another island. Everybody knows Corfu. Greeks call it Kerkyra. Corfu or Kerkyra is a big island in the Adriatic Sea. I had to go there. I was staying at the Olympus Riviera on the east coast of Greece, and Kerkyra is on the west coast. I was staying in the village of Leptokaria, where all my tourists were, and my stay was already getting closer to 3 months. At that time, Czech Republic wasn't yet in European Union, so I would have to leave. I was working for Czech travel agency. I wasn't working in Greece for anybody. I was working for a Czech company. Tourist guides went to Greece, stayed there for 3 months, and then they went back home. Then they returned and were able to stay another 3 months. And the tourist season lasts usually 4 to even sometimes 5 months. So I had to leave, and I had to leave my clients there, and they didn't know that I left actually, which is crazy. And the trip was also crazy because travel agency had tourists at Corfu too. They were flying back to Brno, where I live. I was supposed to take that flight. That was on the other side of Greece. So I just had to get there in time to catch that flight. So I took a bus from Leptokaria to Igoumenitsa, which is on the west coast of Greece, and from there you take a ship, a ferry, and you go to Kerkyra. It's a long trip. I don't remember, 5 hours or something, across all the Greek mountains in the center of Greece, and very steep and winding road. It's an experience by itself. I enjoyed it. So I got to the ferry, then I got to resort where my company's other tourists were staying, and there I had a hotel room for just about 4 hours because I arrived at night. I stayed in that room waiting for the time of my departure from the capital of Corfu by plane. And it was overnight flight. It takes 2 hours to get to Czech Republic from Greece. I flew to Brno, where I arrived probably around 7 in the morning. And then my bus, which was going back to Greece, was probably at 9. So I just got to my apartment, probably took a shower, had some coffee, and I basically didn't have anything with me except for maybe change of underwear and toothbrush and stuff like that. And I went back, public transport, and back to the place from where our bus was leaving. So I spent home probably 1 hour. And I jumped on a bus which was going back through Italy to Corfu, but I would get that important stamp leaving Greece and going back to Greece. I was returning the same day that I arrived within an hour. And that's crazy, right? And what was waiting for me, however, was much longer journey and even more adventure. Because we went by bus. It was my tourist agency bus with drivers and everything. We went to Italy. We got on a big ship, I don't know, Angona, Brindisi, somewhere. Then we sailed to Corfu, where we arrived, I don't know, afternoon. Then my accommodation was where this group was going, and that was very far from the capital and very far from where my bus, which embarked on the ferry and then continued to Leptokaria, would be leaving. So a bus took me together with the tourists to their beautiful destination on the other side of the island. And the girls who were there working in the same position as me, they gave me a nice room where I stayed from the evening till the next day, like 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't oversleep, but the girl overslept, who was supposed to take me to the capital. And I don't remember if that was the plan. When I woke her up, she took me on a small motorcycle. And you can imagine driving over the whole island. And Corfu is not a tiny island. It took an hour and a half and we were late, or it looked like we will be late. So it was very scary, I would say. Or not scary, but I didn't know what I would do if I had to stay another night, because my tourists were there without me already 2 days. Well, it was very frustrating, but I got there last minute. I got to my bus and I was on my way. Again, a bus on the ferry. It was early morning. We traveled across the mountains, across the mainland of the whole Greek peninsula, up to the east side. Finally, in the afternoon, I arrived to Leptokaria. I came to my room, and immediately when it was time to do it, I went to do my round to the apartment rooms where my tourists were staying. Everybody was fine and nobody knew until I told them that I was gone. I don't even know if I told them that I was gone for 3 days, back to Czech Republic, back to Greece, while they were enjoying their stay, not knowing that I'm not there. So that's one of the crazy stories. This was pretty adventurous. You know, you never know what can happen. That I would manage to come back in time and so on. I did, and then I stayed till October. I was there from May till late October. This was much later than this photograph, because this photograph is from 1993. Those were my first months in Greece as a student of English, believe it or not. So I have my sketch and I could soon start painting, but before that I will do a little bit of shading. By the way, here you will see how the original and my picture differ. Yay, I can see that I didn't do it as right as it should be. This should be all higher, this should be higher. That's a good idea to look at it like that. But I think I like it the way it is, because if I make this higher, there's one thing I could change to make this a little higher. I would love to hear from you some more stories from your vacation, or maybe experiences with travel agencies. Well, I did it, let's say, for 2 years. It was a job. It was a way how to be in Greece for a long time. But after that, I found a different way, which I like better, more independent and directly connected to Greek life. I worked in a jewelry store. Well, I have never done it like this, that I would have at the bottom a tracing of the image. And back to tracing, I can show you here, it's the right proportion from the photograph, but when I sketch, you can see that I'm off. It will not matter because that's not important. I sketch it looking at the photograph. I also have a color variation already, which was chosen from 2 options. Now I would like to do, I lock this layer and I would like to do a little bit of shading, just a tiny bit, so that I get inspired when I use the colors. In the end, I'd like to invite you to come to see all my Greek street paintings together. We have an online group show premiere on YouTube on Anne Livingston's channel. She created this challenge. It's an online group series challenge for artists who love colors and love using colors for beneficial purposes. It is called Under the Same Sky, and there are about 24 of us artists from around the world. You can also see my series on my website. Link is in the description.